Jan is my religious name. My birthday, it was Maria. But when we make vows, we change the name. At that time, long time ago, not anymore now. So we had to choose 3 names, and I wanted a different name. But they gave me what I didn't want. Not because I didn't like it, but because people couldn't pronounce it. So it was nearer to John. So I said, leave it to John. It's a man's name, but so leave it like that.
Can you tell us, about where you grew up, where you were born, where you grew up, and then where you met the sisters for the first time?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Rio Grande do Sul. It's the southern state of Brazil, and the best. And the name is Caxias do Sul, the city. And that is the first city that the immigrants at that time who came, they even built a small little house, and it's still there from many, many years ago. And what they did, the city grew, because they were different not denominations, but different countries. The Italian, they stay in their own place. And the Germans, they had another place. The Polish, Irish. And so the city grew slowly in the beginning, because when they went there was nothing. The Brazilian government at that time, they wanted the white people to come and develop that area because it was the land of the Indians, the indigenous. They used to call Bugres. And not too far from where I grew up, there is a river that goes through, and there is still, if you go there, you can see the bones that they died there because they have caves. They live in the caves. But then when the white people came, they started to work the land. So the government gave a lot of land to these immigrants. My family too, all our relatives, they all have a big piece of land. And they work hard. And they build it up. And now it's a big city, a beautiful big city. My family is really religious. Very good Catholics, and all of that are people who came from the immigrant. All the immigrants that came from Europe, and the sisters used to come, but not our sisters, not Cabrini sisters. So we had some other orders that I knew. They used to teach us the catechism, prepare us for the sacraments and that. But the Cabrini sisters, I never knew. But there was one family, the woman, the mother of 3 Cabrini sisters, they were in Sao Paulo. And so she got friendly with my mother. So she had 6 girls, and we were 6 too. So she used to say to my mother, why don't you give some of your daughters to the convent? So she came and she asked me, and why do you want to go to the Cabrini sisters? I have 3 daughters there. They're very happy. You can join them. And my mother was all excited because she wanted one of her daughters to be. And so I said, no way. But she said, you think about it, and then I'll come back. I'll come back another time. So she did. She said, did you make up your mind? Do you want to want to go? Then I'll come. And I let the sisters know that you want to go. So one of the sisters from São Paulo, she came. She was in touch with this lady, Malone. Her name was Malone. So she came. She stayed in our house. She just say a few words about Mother Cabrini, but not too much, because she stayed like overnight, and then the next day we depart. And that was, for me, was a call from God, because nobody ever asked me before. In fact, when she came, we were all there. 4 of us, we were older. The other 2, they were smaller. And she was asking who want to go, And so the other 2 younger, my sisters, they said, I'd like to go. But my mother said, no, Maria can go. And the others, my sister, we were 2 who went there at the same time. Me, Maria, my sister, Lourdes. So we took off. We didn't let anybody know. This was a Monday, because she had come on Sunday, she stayed overnight, and on Monday we depart. And the whole town it was mad. How could the 2 sisters, the older ones, leave the family, the mother, to go away without saying anything? They were mad. I think some of them, even today, if we talk about it. And one of my uncle and auntie, we were neighbors. And they had 6 sisters, girls, 1 boy, and we were 6. And we were like one family. We were so happy to be together. We used to go to feast away, to weekends, dancing all night. And we were never separate. We were inseparable. We were like sisters. And one is still alive. Her name is Julieta. Julie, no? And now I wouldn't see her anymore. I'm so sorry I cannot go. But every time we go, we point to that time. Why did you leave us? Why did you leave us? So I had to explain to them, this is the call from God. And this is it. So we took off and we went to São Paulo with Sister Lucy. She's dead now. And we got a welcome. Wonderful welcome by the sisters. And there were many. Brazil have many vocations. And they had a whole, like a banquet for us, that we were coming from Rio Grande do Sul. And Sister Lucy always told me, your mother is a saint. Your mother is a saint. Because the way she, we were just plain people. We were poor, not really poor. We were working people, and we had everything, but not rich, that's for sure. I could say middle class at that place. And she always tell me, your mother is a saint. And I'm sure, I believe it. I believe it. The way she lived and the way she raised us all,
When you first joined the Institute, did you know, or what did you know about Mother Cabrini's charism when you first joined? Did you know anything about it? Talk to me a little about what you knew.
Well, we were like postulants. We were a group. So every day in the evening after we had supper, we used to have like a Bibles reading. The sister who came to explain the Bible. We read the Bible, they explain everything, and also talk about a little bit of the charism of. But we were so young. What do you know? I didn't even know what charism was. But they explained, that she was. She worked for the immigrants, and that's true, because in my state, they are mostly immigrant people. In fact, we have a big monument made to the immigrant people. Every year they have a feast, parade, and all of that.
So now, think about it. If I asked you today about Cabrini's charism or her legacy or her teachings, or now what would you tell me about that?
I think it's a very rich charism. If we follow it, it's a very rich charism. I started to read some books about her, and the more I read, the more I like it, the more I understand it now. Even though we had, along the way, we talk about the charism all the time, But it's something that attracts me very much, because she was for the poor, the abandoned, the poorest of the poor. That's what she did. And that was our family charism too. Because everybody in that town, they used to help each other. What I have, I give it to you too. You never go to a home that when they come to visit, they bring something to you. Wherever you go. It's a culture. And if we see somebody who's very poor, they didn't have anything, whatever we could give, we'll do. We were poor too, but whatever we did, we gave it to. So it's ingrained in us that Cabrini was always looking for the poorest. Up to now. Why did we go to Ethiopia? Why did we go to Swaziland? And now in Uganda, Sudan. So that's a continuation of the Mother Cabrini's legacy.
I want to talk, or ask you to talk a little bit about the many places where you were missioned. Can you tell me? Well, at first I was missioned here, and then.
Yes.
Just a little bit. Yes, thank you.
We can start from the beginning.
Sure.
When a girl enters the convent, they wait. There's a lot of preparation. Sometimes depends on the girl, how much she needs to be preparation. For me, only 6 months I was in São Paulo. And then right away, they start making the preparation for the passport, immigration, and all of that. We had supposed to go to Italy, but we were too late. So one group went to Italy, and we were left back to come here for the first time, the Brazilian to come. We were 17 to make the novitiate here. And that was in 1958. So after 6 months, only I had 6 months. So I didn't have much time to learn about Mother Cabrini, just a little bit. So, in fact, at that time, because I was a minor, I had to go home and ask my father permission. And he had to sign the papers that he will allow me to come to America. So it was May, and around the middle of May, 1958. And we arrived in New York. That was a shock for me, and also for some of the others. A shock. And this one sister, she came to pick us up at the airport. And we went to Cabrini, Cabrini Hospital here. The old one, not the new one. And the first day, they took us to the dining room where we were very welcome also. But we have to go through a hall, like a tunnel, to go to the dining room. And we had to pass through the emergency room. Can you imagine? I was scared to death. They were all the Bowery people from here, screaming and yelling. And I said, where did we land it? And it looked like we were crushed, Brazil was open space. You come here, you have big buildings and a tunnel. It was not very nice. It was not very nice. But we got used to after a while. Not only me, all the others. Some of the others came from different states. I and my sister were the only two from Rio Grande do Sul. The others, they came from Minas Gerais, Rio de Janeiro,
So can you tell me now, where did they send you, and how did they tell you would be going to each mission?
So we made the novitiate here in West Park. And the novitiate at that time was 1 year. And so after the novitiate, my first mission was Chicago. We have hospitals there. We had 3 hospitals in Chicago. And right after the novitiate, the profession, the first vows that we made, 3 of us went to Chicago. I was hoping that they don't send me to a hospital because I didn't know anything about hospitals. My goodness, what am I going to do there? Anyway, we had just pronounced obedience, the vows. So I said, let's go. But we were 3 anyway. So I went to a very brand new hospital, Cuneo Hospital. They were all in the near north side, near the Lake Michigan. Beautiful place. So I had to learn from the very beginning, from scratch. Thank God there was one sister there, a young also. She had just gone there, but she knew something about hospital. So she was teaching us how to make the beds, prepare for the patients that were coming in. And we managed. We just take one day at a time. The food was different. But Chicago was different from from New York. I love Chicago. From Chicago, I was there for 2 years. And then our Mother General called me. I said, now what did I do? So she called me to her office. She said, you are going to New York. I said, for what? And she said, you go to study dietetic, you and another sister, Sister Benedict. I said, how can I go to school there for dietetic? I don't know enough English. I didn't know. She said, obedience will help you. Obedience will help you. So what can I say? Yes, mother, I'll go. So we went. After 2 or 3 weeks, we got ready and came to New York. Not too far from here, in the Bowery here. I don't know if the school is still there. But obedience makes miracles. I went through the whole year. I was writing down English when they were talking, just the way I thought. Not because that was English. The only one who could read it was me. So the other sister, it was from England. She knew the English, okay. So in the evening, we used to compare notes. But I had to read to her what she missed, and then what I missed, and we studied that way. And this was the whole year. But at the end of the year, I got the first prize. I was surprised, and so the other one was Sister Cyprian, she's dead now, but she was surprised, and they gave me a check of $25 at that time.
So tell me how you got to Africa.
Now, after I finished this dietetic, I went back to Chicago, and I was there for 13 years. I worked as a dietitian. And so what you do when you're a dietitian, you're supposed to visit the patients. You help them to, I used to write the menus, and to help them to fill up the menus to the patients. And if, I helped them in the best way that I could, my bad English. But I say my bad English, but the people who knew me before, they said, oh my goodness, where did you learn that English? I could speak very well. And from there, after 13 years in the kitchen, the hospital got a company to do the the meals for the patients, and they have their own dietitian. So I said, you don't need me here. So one of the sisters, who she was the administrator of 3 hospitals, Sister Irma Lungi, she said, you young sisters better go to school. We work all day. Whatever was done, to washing dishes, and I was doing dietitian, prepare for the patients, and make sure, And so we worked during the day, and we used to go to, near us, there was a high school. And we go there in the night to learn English. And that's the way we prepare for the high school. What do you call it?
GED?
GED. So we passed the GED. We were about 10 sisters, all young. We made it. And not all of us, but almost all of us, they sent it to nursing school in Chicago. So after the nursing school, I said myself, I like to go to a mission. I don't mind. And they sent me to Swaziland, 1978. So I went to Swaziland. And Swaziland is very different from New York or Chicago. And there we had clinics, for us, clinics here, I don't know what you call it. You call a dispensary, or now they have urgent care, but we were everything. But Swaziland was good. They accepted us. They gave us the license that we could see patients. If we can prescribe medicine. And there we used to do every day, even Saturday and Sunday, even in the night. They used to call me in the night. And my room, I used to leave the window open a little bit, and I could hear the people walking and knocking on the door. I had to get up. There was mothers with sick babies, mothers who were about to deliver babies. We had one, she delivered in our living room. She could make it. And another one was a teacher. Oh, so I could kill her, that woman. She came the last minute in front of the house. She delivered there in the front of the grass. And I was not too, experienced in delivery. Because in America, you look. The rest, the doctor do everything. But there we had to do everything. So we had to learn. But we used to have a sister there, Rafaela, called Raphael. She was Scottish. And they are really prepared for that. So she used to teach me, you do this and that, when you had to cut the cord. And that's the way we learn. By doing.
Then you went to Ethiopia after that?
Well, after 13 years in Swaziland, I came back here. I was exhausted. I couldn't function anymore. It was too much because, the people are like that. In the beginning, they look at you with suspicion, Is she good? Is she not good? But at the end, they kill you. They kill you because there is no for an answer. So I was on call day and night, go out during the day. 6 in the morning, I was on the road. And come back 6 o'clock in the evening. And so we had a clinic at home, a nice one. We had nurses stay there all the time. But it's like Saturday and Sunday, I used to take it up in where we live because I didn't want to go down during the night. Ethiopia was a bit different. Different in some side the same. But Ethiopia, we arrived there in 2001. And there was a hospital in construction. It belongs to the diocese. It didn't belong to us because we work with the Capuchin, the same mission. And so I saw that from the very beginning to go up. We open it with one doctor and myself. And then we start getting some nurses to come in. And they're supposed to have been for mother and child only. But it didn't work out that way for too long. When they knew that the way we were taken, the doctor was a gynecologist. So we had the first baby in his office. It was okay. It was perfect. The woman was so happy. In fact, she invited us to go to her home to visit where she was. Oh, they prepared some food for us, and she was so happy. And then the hospital started, slowly coming, the children especially. A lot of malnutrition, children. Mothers, they had a difficult time to come to the hospital because their culture was to deliver at home. But there were too many dying. So when we used to go out to the rural areas, we used to teach every time before we start seeing the patient, we collect them all together. They will sit outside because inside there was one room. And we teach them all about health. Of course, we always have somebody to translate. And slowly to get them to come into the hospital. But, if you have mothers to come to the hospital, sometimes they need surgery. And with the surgery, you need anesthesia and these hard, heavy drugs, no? And they would not give us the license unless we make it general. And then, how then all the men used to come in more than the women. Oh my God, that was very difficult for us. For me, it was difficult because we come here, the bishop make this hospital work for the women children because they were dying like flies. This malaria was rampant. And there's the men come in. So I have some fights with the men because they have more than one wife. And I tell you one story. Can I have that?
Please.
Just try to make it short.
No, it's good. Go ahead.
There was one woman, beautiful woman, the first baby, and she was going. She had it. So, but they needed blood transfusion for her. And who do you go first? You go to the family. And the husband was there. And we tried to get him to give her some blood. He didn't want to. So I tried, the doctor tried, and the nurses tried to you're going to save your wife, and you better give us the... No, he didn't want to. He make us wait 2 days. And she was getting worse and worse, no? Finally, one day, he was coming out from the room, and I stopped him. I said, why don't you give blood to your wife? She would be okay. No, he said, let her die. He said, it's okay, let her die. He was walking away. And I said to him, if you can have 2 or 3 wives, you can take care of this. The way I could. So he went down to the laboratory. He went to give the blood. And they saved the woman. But this was a fight all the time. They didn't want to. You know why? Because they are afraid. They say that if the woman died and he gave the blood transfusion, he will die too. Part of him dies too. This is in their mind.
That's a good story. That's a good story. Thank you.
It's a true story.
I believe you. I believe you. We're learning lots of stories this way. Now, I want to just go to the side for a minute. So, as a sister, over the years, you live by yourself? You live in community? What's that like?
No, I always live in community, all the time.
What does that mean?
With the other sisters. And whatever we have is in community. We have religious life, meals and health, and everything was taken care by the community. I never live alone.
And does that include recreation?
Oh, yes.
Tell what does a community do when they want to have fun? Do they have fun?
Oh, yes. Yes. You know, when I was in Chicago, at that time we had a lot of sisters in Young. Columbus Hospital, they have like 80 sisters in community, one community. And Cuneo, we were small. It was a small hospital, like 200 patients, not even. We were 16. And Cabrini too, there were 20-something. So there were 3 hospitals there. So when it was a big feast like Christmas or Easter or, you know, we used to get together. So we had meal together. And then we had some sisters telling stories and we laugh. And so that was ours. And other things we used to do was that some doctors, when a nice movie came out that the sisters could see, not bad movies. So he used to get the tickets for us, and we go to see the movie. Dr. Wilkie, remember? He never missed.
Nice.
We had a very good relationship with the staff, the doctors, the nurses, the cleaning people. Cuneo was so small that it was like a family. For me, it was like a family.
Is there something in your life that, you know, when a point where something changed your life or touched your heart that you remember?
From Swaziland?
From anywhere in your religious life.
Well, Swaziland, we were able to get out from the mission. Next to us, you know where Mantenga Falls? So either Saturday or Sunday, if we were able to get away from before the patients come, we pick up a sandwich or something, go to the Mantenga Falls. And there we stay the whole day. We enjoyed the water, the open air. We took our dogs and the cat, and we go together. And we had a wonderful time. St. Philip, I didn't stay to St. Philip. You know St. Philip's? First of all, when I went there, I had supposed to be in St. Philip's. That was my mission. But I couldn't stay there because it was too hot. I was getting sicker and sicker. I had to move to St. Mary's, La Bamba. But we used to get together when it was feast, you know, we used to get together and have meal together and laugh and joke. And well, that's not big things, but I never took days off because I felt that I couldn't leave the patient sick, you know, and go away. But they managed. There was one lady that came from England, volunteer. She wanted to go to Kruger Park. And they managed to get me to go with her without me knowing. They said, one sister, Rafaela, she said, you go with her. I said, who's going to take my place? And she said, I'll go there. So she took my place, and I went with this lady. We stayed in the Kruger Park for 1 week. That was beautiful. I enjoyed that. We slept in the park, and it was really a place that I would never forget. It took us 3 days to go through because it's very big. We saw all the animals. We stay in one place where they put the special is in circle because you cannot, you know, you're going to be eaten up by these lions. And So we used to get out 6 o'clock in the morning, start going. And it's only one road by car. You can't get out of the car and go to the next stop. But this one was special for tourists because they show a movie in the evening, a movie of the park, and they explain everything to you. So that was really beautiful. And we could eat there. They have these huts. And we slept there, and they prepare for you the fireplace where you cook your own food, your meat, or whatever. And it was really good. So then you could go ahead again. When I get home, I was refreshed.
If I were to say, what is your current ministry? How would you answer that question?
My ministry, I'm here. Can you say retire?
Yeah, but I
But I never retire. Sisters never retire. So whatever. But since I came back from Ethiopia, for a year I was well, a year and a half. And then I got sick. And I had a tumor in my brain. So they had to take it out. And, since then, I was never strong enough. I was able to go home after that to visit my family twice. The last time, I told them, I'm not coming back anymore, which broke their heart. And also mine, because my family is everything. I love them all. I just lost one sister about 3 months ago. My dear sister. She suffered for 45 years. I don't know if you know if it's, osteomyelitis. A tree trunk came down on her leg. She never healed from that. So she suffered all her life. She just died. But I tell you this too. This makes me cry all the time. I think about her. She was in and out the hospital continuously. They tried everything. They couldn't do anything anymore. So the doctor told the family, you can take her home because there's nothing else we can do. And she was very weak. She was going to die. So she got home, and I wanted to talk to her. And I asked one of the sisters to lend me the WhatsApp because I didn't have the WhatsApp. So this way I could see her and she could see me. 'Cause we were very close. And so she saw me. She was sitting in the chair very weak. And her name was Teresina. And I said, Teresina, do you hear me? She said, yes. Do you see me? Yes. I said, can you say something to me? Can you talk? She said, Maria, I have no more pain. That did it for me. For 45 years, she was agonizing with pain. At that moment, she said, Maria, she called me Maria. My family knows me by Maria, not John. And she said, I have no more pain. She died the next day. So she died happy. I was not happy because she died, but I was happy that she didn't have any more pain. She's in heaven too, because she was a good mother.
That's a beautiful story.
And the children, they loved her. They did everything for her at home. One time before this last time, they took her because she was very sick at home. They took it because she's supposed to have cut the leg. We keep telling her, Teresina, why don't you cut? Then they put the prosthesis. You can still walk. No, she didn't want to. And so they went. Finally, she couldn't say no. She agreed to cut the leg. And when they could just kept it 3 days in the hospital. But the doctor sent her home because he was afraid that she was going to get the COVID. So he said, you'd be taken better care at home because of the children. They all learn how to do the bandage. And believe it or not, that doctor, I wish to see him. He ordered the ambulance, and he jumped into the ambulance with her to her house. He went himself with the nurse and make sure that she was in a good bed where she could be taken care of. And he was satisfied. Where in the world a doctor go with the patient at home? I never saw it before. Maybe there is. I'm sure there is. Because some doctors are very good. And after that, for a week, he was going every day to see her. But then, he was very busy. He was a surgeon. And he used to send the nurses to do it and show it to the girls, to my niece and my other sisters to do the dressing until she was sick again to take it back. Yeah.
What would you tell a girl, a young woman who wants to go into the institute?
I will tell them that if you desire to enter the convent, give yourself time in prayer. Pray about it. That's what I said. It's the call from God. And you don't wait when God calls you.
Perfect. That's like a little exclamation point on your story. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I always say, if I have to tell and it's many days to say everything what we did what I did in Ethiopia. I always say there is only one Sister Giani.